Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. Okay,
Yes.
great. So the present condition of corona, I have to say a few words so that we're all calm and quiet. The sad story of corona is that it is present is one thing, and it is present 100 times more because of the media and unnecessary attention given by this economic state of the world in making the whole world psychotically fearful is something that suits the economic model of the world and the present day so-called medical fraternity, the allopathic world dominated by the Western thought process and controlled by the Western thought process, has really screwed up the world, not knowing what they're doing. Basically, they're creating fear, and people are dying more of fear than the real reason. And Corona was there, Corona will be there, and Corona is there. The same thing. We were there, and we will be there, and we are going to be there. It's nonsense that these guys are creating about Corona. Corona is not going to run out, come and catch you. And people who are dead, the Corona is not going to spring from their dead bodies and come to you. It needs live things to survive. So basic virology clearly indicates that it's not going to come and catch you on the air, this, that, and don't touch this, don't do that. All this unnecessary, unwanted fear mongering through this so-called digitalized world. See, this digitalization is the basic reason why these corporate companies are making money. They can make the whole world a single audience and scare people in a matter of week all over the world. And they're actually making small things into big problems. And coronary heart attacks are basically due to fear. And many heart attacks have happened all along the history of human life. 79 to 85% of the heart attacks are due to fear. Fear that I will have a heart attack. That's what kills. It's not the heart attack that makes things happen, actually. So the panic condition is what is killing more people than the real corona. Corona is a very weak virus. In fact, many people have already established that it's only not even 1% of people are really dead all over the world due to corona. There is influenza like virus, it kills so and so many number of people. That's as simple as that. In fact, if you take the average monthly death rate of the world and the last 1.5 year that we are talking about corona, the average death rate is less than the earlier years. In India, it's only 5.6 lakhs per month. People are dying now compared to 6.1 lakhs of people dying between 2008 to 2018 December monthly. So if corona is really killing more number of people, we should have had at least 10,000 people more than the average, but it is other way around. It's because we are all so-called lockdowns and this and that. In fact, less number of accidents and people, 50 to 80,000 people are dying less. And if corona was there seriously doing the damage, we should have at least had 6.1 lakhs people dying on a monthly basis. It is not the case. So why are we doing this? The simple reason is to sell the medicines, to sell the vaccines. to sell the remdesivir, to sell the dexamethasone, whatever names you are in, and trial and error. And it is such a fear psychotic way of doing things that we have reduced the immunity levels of the people. And then we are now saying black fungus, which is mucor, which is a bread mold, which is there from time immemorial. And when the people's immunity comes down, when the death comes, it takes over. It is the process of deteriorating the living things, and fungus attacks. And now we have, which should have been ICU cases. These are called ICU cases. When there is ICU conditions, you have one or two black fungus cases now and then happening in the medical history. And now we have created 3 to 4 out of 100. That means we have been systematically, without mind, unmindfully, reducing the immunity of the common man all over the world. And this is the problem. So we are trying to solve one problem, transferring it into other problem. So corona, black fungus, white fungus. And as if it is not enough, we have corona first wave, second wave, third wave. All these are unnecessary. If you leave it alone, the body, the human body, will try to settle down itself with the invading viruses and find itself a balance. No, we do not want to do that. We are doing all unwanted artificial things so that the mutations and transmutations can happen, can go haywire, and you have no control over it. And that's what this economic model of this present day medical world wants. As simple as this. So if you can beef up your immunity, which is very, very simple, very, very simple. Aapko three times, I will tell you, repeatedly tell you, B, C, D. Vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D. B, C, D. If you beef up these three issues in your system, no one will have any problem with corona second wave or third wave or fourth wave or fifth wave. 2019 corona also doesn't bother you. And it's so simple. Vitamin B, you have to have khamir, that is fermented porridge of any grain which has high fiber, like all the 5 grains that I have been talking about, the millets. And C, any khatta, any sour thing, whether it is orange or lemon or imli, aam, sour spinach, whatever. Vitamin C. And vitamin D, as I have been telling sincerely, no one understands this. It is the sun. It is the sun which gives vitamin D, not fortified milk or injections or tablets or supplements. Nothing will work. If everything should have worked, then no one should be vitamin D deficient in this world. But all over the world, vitamin D deficiency is pronounced. More than 60 to 80 people are vitamin D deficient. What does that mean? That we have been following an unnatural path of living. Hence, we are having all these troubles, which is supposed to be freely available when you expose yourself to sun. We are not doing it. So if you sit in the morning when the sun is rising or when the sun is setting in the evening, 15 to 20 minutes, you don't need to do even Surya Namaskar. Of course, if you do Surya Namaskar, you are going to be much better. So vitamin D is fermented porridge, which is actually our old culture all over the world, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. This fermented porridge was the way of life. Everyone used to partake. And then achar. Achar is ultimate food item that all over India we were following. So in the name of science and technology and Western imitation, we have lost all these 3 good habits. Hence, India has become almost immune compromised, and we have all these problems. And according to me, it's not at all a serious issue. And all of a sudden now people have taken vaccine in America, there is no corona. All of a sudden it disappeared. And not even 40% people have taken vaccines. And vaccination is a bogus thing because how many people can you vaccinate? 1.3 crore people. Now, for the last 128 days, they have been able to vaccinate in India around 18 crores of people. And we still have 120 crores to be vaccinated. So, in that, logistically, if you think, it will take another 2.5, 3 years. Even if everything is ready and we keep vaccinating. So in next 2.5 years, because of your vaccination, the variants are coming. So the most unscientific thing that can happen on this planet is the drive of vaccinations. And how many vaccines can you go on preparing? And you have not tested. The hurry-burry that you have released all these vaccines, no 3-year testing. All the rules are just thrown away to the wind. The most unscientific, and I would call it dogmatic. You have become dogmatic. You are not scientific. You have become dogmatic in pursuing this economic model of the present day handling of the corona. On the contrary, if you are scientific, just make your body immune strong. Very simple. So vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D. These 3 issues, if you take care of, which is the easiest thing to do. Within 6 weeks, the whole world doesn't need anything. You just become immune strong. So 6 weeks, follow this. Take fermented porridge along with homemade achar and simple Surya Namaskar. Everyone can become immune strong. Very simple. And if you take millets as khamir, you have solved all your problems. In fact, next 6 weeks, even the so-called diabetes, BP patients, arthritic patients, all these guys will become half their problems will be solved, including their original diseases will disappear. Very simple. People may laugh at me. With this such a complicated problem, you have such simple solutions. Yes. If you believe in nature, if you believe truly that life form has its own strength and listen to its wonderful, powerful messages, this simple thing can clearly wipe out all your problems. It's not that it is going to kill corona. It's going to make you strong. Because believe me, there are more viruses that are going to be more powerful than this corona are going to come. Why? Because you are becoming weaker and weaker day by day, immune compromised as you practice this present day Western oriented food practices and of course many other gadget dependent lifestyle. You have smartphone, you have TV, you have this, you have that. All the vibrations are screwed up around you. There is no natural setup. You have one side TV, one side fridge, one side Wi-Fi. What nonsense are you guys doing? And you are all thinking you're living in a scientific world. You're absolutely out of control. So you do not know what you're doing. This is the basic problem. So unless you respect natural things, and there is life only in nature, you cannot create artificial world and say, I live in this artificial world. You will find yourself in disease and sickness. And that's what is happening all around the world. So stop this nonsense of digitalization. Don't use too much of this technology. Please bend your knees. Please bend your neck. Do physical work. Your blood, your lymph, everything flows properly. So it is the physical exercise that we have forgotten. So all this talk about being well is completely dependent upon your exercises, your physical strength depends on your practices of your body joints. So everything, see, if you have joints means you have to keep using them. You don't use your fingers, you don't use your shoulders, you don't use your knees, you don't use your ankles, then you will become weak. The lymph doesn't flow, the blood doesn't flow properly. So please at least keep walking 1 or 2 hours a day. So these are the basic things. And I also know a lot of people keep talking about mind, meditation, dhyana. All these things are next. First, do this. You can meditate, you can do all that. I have seen a lot of people who are meditating, not having physical exercise, again taking tablets, eating wrong things, doing all hangama. So the spirituality comes only after the physical wellness. And for the being physically well, you have to do things in the mundane world, the physical body. That you have to keep it right. Then the question of energy, then the question of spirituality, then the question of understanding yourself, all that things come later. So without the proper physiological functioning, you cannot do anything. It is the question of body and mind and spirit together. So do not neglect the mundane aspect of our existence, the physicality. Without physicality, there is no spirituality. So I have seen and heard many people talking about spiritual world, this be calm, be careful, be this, God's grace, all that, according to me, different levels. Basic, what goes into your mouth, what makes your body. And if your body is not right, you can keep talking all that you want to. Nothing happens. So eat right. Don't eat sugar. Sugar is the last thing that our body has to make. It is the last product that has to be pumped into our blood. So don't put it in your mouth directly. Let the body make the glucose. Let it digest the raw materials, the natural foods, and then pump glucose into your blood, maintaining the glucose balance. And just you maintain the glucose balance by choosing the right food, which has fiber to release the glucose slowly and steadily into your blood. Then everything falls into place. If you have glucose balance, then the microbial balance happens. If you have microbial balance, then hormone imbalance happens. Then everything falls in place. So once that is set, then you start thinking of your breathing, your meditation. Then comes the spiritual world. Then think of wellness. Then think of doing good to others. All that happens. So first set yourself right. Think of what you are eating, what is going into your mouth. Don't touch sugar. Sugar is the worst enemy for human race. And you want sweet, there are a lot of other natural sweets called palm jaggery, khajur jaggery, toddy palm, silver date palm, khajur palm. All these trees give you sweet. Fructose-based sweetness is what your body requires because it doesn't screw up your glucose balance. Along with it, it has a lot of minerals and other things. So switch tomorrow onwards from this industrial food. Sugar is one of the major industrial foods that the world has fallen into. And all these so-called spiritual leaders, whoever it is, if you are eating sugar, you have not understood the body mechanism at all. So please first, all of you stop touching sugar, and milk will spoil your hormone balance. So animal protein, milk is an animal protein, don't touch it. So these three things, and rice and wheat pumps glucose into your blood very fast. So don't touch it. These are the scientific reasons why you should avoid the present day food materials, which is pushed by this industrial food corporate culture. so that they can make merry with their medicines and pharmaceutical companies. So it is a big vicious cycle. So what goes into your mouth decides your health. And so don't tell me all cock and bull stories about medicines, this, that, this happened, that happened. So if you keep this straight, everything will fall in place. And that is what we did for ages, all through the human history, all around the human existence. We all ate the right food. That's why we didn't have all these nonsensical diseases. We were dying due to natural processes. So this is the simple story that I want to tell you. And we will have to bring back the original regionally grown food grains that are these 5 grains. I have worked for the last 20 years, and they are the best things that can happen to human race. And there may be many more grains which the future generations, I hope, will figure out. But for time being, before I exhausted my time on this planet, I had to figure out at least 5 grains which will clean up our body, detox our system, and give health. And we have found thousands and lakhs of people getting well. The so-called diabetes, so-called cancer, so-called BP, so-called thyroid, many including some genetic disorders like SLE, autoimmune diseases, muscular dystrophy, all these kinds of so-called, I don't know what to call, what do you call that? Very chronic and not curable diseases have been helped very systematically. And we have actually made a big list of many kinds of diseases that we are being talking around. All those list of the kadas, that is decoctions that help all around us. Many leaves decoctions can clean your body and provide the immune system very strong. So we have got everything detailed, and all of them are incorporated into downloadable PDFs, which I have sent to Jyoth and the administrative system of this organization. I hope that will be shared by everyone. And we need to simplify our life. Don't complicate your thought process. Life is very simple. Follow the nature, you will be fine. And that is the simplest spirituality that one can start with. So mind what you are eating so that it doesn't trouble other living things on this planet. We are all been talking only about human beings. There are zillions of life forms on this planet. So you have to live along with this. So don't think virus is bad and you want to kill it. What can you kill? You can kill nothing, actually. You will be killed. All this fight to kill someone, we need to develop tolerance. It is our mental attitude. That is the best immunization. Let's live and let others live. So the tolerance is the essence of immunization. So you want to be strong, you have to develop the patience to live along with other things. Let everyone have their views. Let everyone have the right to live on this planet. So let's not think of killing viruses, killing bacteria, killing fungi, killing plants, killing animals. And what? You think you will alone live on this planet? You will be sick. And that's what we are seeing now. We are trying to eliminate all living things. 68% of other living things have become extinct because of our way of living, our wanting too many things from nature. So let's start saying enough. And that's when your real spirituality begins. Then you say, enough, God, I'm thankful for that you have given us air to breathe, water to drink, and small fruits and grains to eat. Say enough. And that is the beginning of spirituality. Keep wanting this, keep wanting that, keep wanting that. And that's where the degeneration of your spirit and body happens. So when you say enough, the first step of spirituality begins. So let's take part the least that we need and live along with other living things on this planet. And that's when we all can be healthy and happy and peaceful. Thank you all. Thank you.
Dr. Khadar, if you can tell more about 5 minutes, we'll be thankful to you. Will you share the book?
Yes, certainly. You please share the book. And these five grains called Kodo millet, which actually is Himalayan mountainous areas. This is found naturally. And in fact, in South India, we have got this grain going for a long, long millennia. There are some wonderful tribals even today growing it and eating these grains in Western Ghat areas. And this millet, this fiber, which is almost 9% of the grain, if you have 100 grams of dried grain, it has got 9% of this fiber, when soaked in water for 6 to 7 hours, becomes hydrated up to 45 to 50 grams of fiber. So when you eat 100 grams of this kodo millet, its fiber, which is hydrated, is almost 30 to 35% of it. That means approximately 15 to 16% of its soluble fiber, and the remaining is insoluble fiber, distributes itself into the larger intestine and then into the blood. The soluble fiber starts cleaning up your bloodstream, blood vessels, bone marrow, where the blood cells and immune globulins, all these things are produced. So basic bloodstream, blood flow, blood vessels all get cleaned up on a daily basis. So if you eat 2 days in 10 days period, your kodo millet, your bloodstream, blood vessels, bone marrow, immune system, everything is cleaned up because the soluble fiber of kodo millet cleans up all this connected to blood. And then comes our foxtail millet, which is actually called Italian millet. That means all around Italian Alps and in that open spaces, the Italian millet, that is foxtail millet, is grown. And this millet's fiber, which is 8% by weight, 100 grams, same thing, absorbs water and swells up to 40 to 50 grams of wet fiber, which is again 1/3 of it is soluble fiber, cleans up your nervous system and lungs. And see the wonderful nature of this grain. It slowly and steadily releases glucose. All these five grains do that because of the fiber content being distributed all along the grain, and the carbohydrate has to be released slowly and steadily into our bloodstream. So now you have little millet, which is actually called African millet. All around the African continent, this millet was grown, and we have it all around our area near Mangalore and Kundapura, all these areas where there is heavy rain received, even that places, this grain grows very well, called little millet. This fiber cleans up your genital organs, that is breasts, uterus, fallopian tubes, ovary, all these organs are cleaned up by little millet fiber in women, and your testicles and sperm generation, all these aspects are completely taken care by little millet fiber. Coming to brown top millet, it cleans up from mouth to anus, all your digestive system. So it becomes very important that we keep our digestive system very clean so that everything happens properly. And foxtail millet and brown top millet are very similar in the sense it can also help you with lungs and nervous system cleaning. And then the last but not the least, the barnyard millet, which actually cleans up all soft parts of our body. That is liver, pancreas, endocrine systems, all these soft parts which are made of fat material. So that's how the whole body gets detoxed on a regular basis when we eat these five millets, resulting a healthy regeneration of cells all through our existence. So when you keep these five grains as your basic staple food, you are blessed with lot of vitamins, lot of minerals, and you don't need to even have other vegetables and fruits for some time. In a week's time, you don't have access to fruits and vegetables, it's okay. You are still going to be healthy when you are consuming these millets. It's not the case with rice and wheat. They are so devoid of many of these parameters that the human gut needs. And on top of it, the insoluble fiber carries a lot of viruses and bacteria along with it and encourages our microbial gut to become healthy. So the existence of microbes in our gut depends on how well you replenish it with the fermented porridges of these five different grains. So the variety of microflora that you fill your intestines and stomach with this wonderful five grains immensely helps you to get on to this vitamin B complex. Vitamin B12 is made by microbes, not by anything else on this planet. You cannot make, or the animals cannot make, or fish cannot make. The microbes that make this naturally. But people think that by supplements we can manage, and you can see now the whole world, 70 to 80% of people are deficient of vitamin B12 and vitamin D. Only now this realization is slowly entering to the people. So when you have natural foods and the natural methods and natural processes, you will have no deficiency at all. And so we have accumulated so much knowledge all along. We are not concentrating on these natural processes. We are still thinking that we can supplement, so calcium supplement, vitamin D supplement, vitamin B supplement, this supplement, that supplement. So people are gobbling up tablets and getting injected, and nothing is happening. And that's because it is not natural for the body to absorb these unnatural supplements. So please stay away from the supplements, stay away from all these things. Eat natural foods, naturally grown, and no fertilizers, no pesticides, no, all these things are adding the present day, modern day diseases like cancer, autoimmune diseases, all are the result of these kinds of food habits and food materials. There are no two things about it. And these doctors and scientists are not spelling it out because they are all tied up with these companies and the so-called industrial corporate science that is ruling the world, which is actually a fake science according to me, because they are not speaking the truth. That's as simple as that. So let's get back to our original local grains. And luckily, we have all these grains in India all along from time immemorial. In fact, the Western Ghats and the open spaces of southern India is the reason, sole reason why we could revive these grains back into the consciousness of people again. So this journey of mine, 25 years ago, I realized this is what is happening. I came back to India and started collecting all these grains, which are almost at the edge of extinction. And then we have revived these grains back into human consciousness. And I hope further down the line, the coming future generations will search for more grains all along the planet and then revive the real healthy habits of the planet. And these grains, the last but not the least, the most important actually according to me is can be grown without any pesticides, any fertilizers, including water. We don't need even water. 1 kilo of rice or wheat requires 10,000 liters of water. This requires 300 to 400 liters of water. Just 4 rains are good enough. That means we can grow these grains all over the planet with just minimal water content. In fact, kodo millet just grows by itself even without rain. Just 2 rains. When you sow the seed and when there is the chitti, the pinnacle is made. So that's as simple as that. So It is the most environmentally sound grains that we should depend on, and it requires the least natural resources. That means we can leave all the water, all the forests to the wonderful natural animals and birds that we have to live along with, which we have been killing because of sugar, rice, wheat, and coffee and tea. So if you stop this unnatural food materials, the world will be a better place to live. So if you are really thinking of Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu, the first thing you want to do is shift your food from water guzzling, environment damaging food habits of the present day Western world. What do I call? Western world's gifts to the human race, which is the most unscientific way of doing things. Most unscientific food is what we are eating right now on this planet. So let's get out of it. Be more scientific, be more kind, be more peaceful to the planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khadar Vali. This was really a knowledgeable session. You rightly said that we have to take the local foods, fresh foods, and natural foods. And we have to
Yes.
stop rice, wheat, sugar, and any artificial things, and all the things that fast food, we call the fast food or packed foods. We should,
Yes.
this is the first step. When we will get aligned with ourselves, where our energy will be high, then only we can do meditation, we can take care of health. This was really nice session, डॉक्टर खादर वली. हम सुबह से डिफरेंट टॉपिक्स के ऊपर बात कर रहे हैं, और जो सब बातों का जो एक सेंट्रल पॉइंट अगर सामने हम देखा जाए तो यही आता है, वी हैव टू टेक केयर आवरसेल्फ, वी हैव टू लव आवरसेल्फ. जो हम खाना खाते हैं वो किस तरह का खाना खाना है, हमें हर चीज के ऊपर देखना है. हमें सिर्फ एक डिजीज के ऊपर नहीं देखना है, हमें लॉन्ग टर्म हेल्थ के ऊपर देखना है, आने वाली जनरेशन के ऊपर देखना है, हम आने वाली जनरेशन को क्या देके जा रहे हैं. तो इसी पर्पस के साथ डॉक्टर खादर वली एंड फ्रेंड्स, हमने ये जो प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट किया था स्पिरिचुअल डॉक्टर फॉर होलिस्टिक हेल्थ, उसके जो आज 1 साल का जो सेलिब्रेशन था, 1 साल का जो नॉलेज का एक गैदरिंग था, जो हम एक फेयर बोल सकते हैं, हम उसकी समाप्ति की ओर बढ़ रहे हैं. सभी दोस्तों का जो सुबह से हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं और हमें ब्लेसिंग्स दे रहे हैं और लोग जुड़ रहे हैं, उन सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. डॉक्टर चंदना, डॉक्टर रंजन.
It was a wonderful session, sir. Thanks. It was very informative. We learned many things. Could you tell us something more about how to prepare them, maybe in few words? Like if somebody wants to start off.
No problem. The simple difference is that these grains have a lot of fiber, and many people think it is rich in fiber. They are rich in fiber, not high, because we need that much minimal fiber content in our food, because without fiber there is no cleaning. And people thinking that food will give you energy, we need nutrients, we need protein, we need carbohydrate, we need lipid. Okay, all that you are getting. After that, what? When you create dirt and toxic morbid waste, you have to clean. There is no झाड़ू लेके कोई नहीं आता है अंदर घुस के नहीं. You have it incorporated in the food, and that's what these millets are all about. So when you have fiber incorporated with the carbohydrates or proteins or whatever that you are thinking is food for you, it has to be cleaned on a daily purpose, and fiber becomes the most important ingredient in your food, and that is the definition of food. Along with giving you energy and nutrient way of doing things, it also has to clean your body on a daily basis. And that's what this fiber is all about. When there is fiber, you have to soak it, to hydrate it, to cook it. So we have forgotten, because of this rice and wheat and ready-made things, you remove all the fiber. Whatever little fiber is there in wheat, you have removed by so-called bleaching with a lot of chemicals and creating more trouble. That's a separate issue. But without fiber, if you eat, and many people are under the impression that if you eat vegetables and fruits, you get fiber. That is actually, again, a myth. Because when you eat fruits and vegetables, you are eating with water. So you want to get 40 grams of hydrated fiber, you have to eat 18 kilos of greens or 9 kilos of vegetables or 21 kilos of fruits. I mean, it's not practical, and it is impossible for anyone to eat that kind of fiber in that form. You see the logic? So many people think, oh, we'll eat raw food, we will eat greens, we will eat vegetables. They are there to provide you different things, different aspects of your. Actually, most of the vegetables and fruits are there to give you actually the viral namunas, that is models for your immune body to copy and be ready antibodies. So the diversified vegetables and fruits are there to provide the antigenic models for your immune system to copy and be ready with antibodies so that it can take care of any kinds of pathogenic viruses or bacteria or fungi. And that is the role of eating vegetables and fruits and other liquidish, means hydrated form of food. That is the most important reason. You cannot get enough minerals and nutrients by eating fruits and vegetables because, as I told you, it is impossible to eat that quantity. So you can eat a small mango, that's good enough. Actually, mangoes have in their layers called gallic acid and further complicated aromatics which can mimic the antigenic properties of many viruses, and in fact can actually stop many carcinogenic materials to be developed because they have got this antioxidant properties which are in catalytic forms, and catalytic amounts you need. You don't need in large quantities. See, this is the point that many of the so-called present day nutrients are missing in the nutritionists. This Western educated, oh, strawberry is good, as if the content of strawberry and the nutrients and the so-called things are not available in India. You have enough in Goa, you have enough in Amla. You see, all this God has provided locally everywhere. So strawberry is not the only thing, or kiwi fruit. Oh, kiwi fruit is great. Now everyone wants to eat kiwi fruit. This is all business, commercial interests that are creating this. So locally you have everything. We are blessed. Every region in this planet is blessed with everything. It is your intelligence and wisdom recognizing that and then continuing the traditional knowledge and actually learning about it with good open mind is the most important thing. But sadly, this Western world and that thought process has destroyed that, and then creating the so-called science as the major thing, and everyone has to listen to their word, their way of doing things, is the bane of our present human civilization, actually. See, science.
Also, maybe, sir, maybe we are also not like publishing our researches, or maybe we are not doing
no,
that
they are
enough.
not allowing us to publish. You see, only if they publish, if they do, it is science. Ayurveda, we have published thousands of years ago. We know about this virus and how to take care of it. I have been telling, I have actually released a small handbook. Until today, no one has fallen prey for corona, whoever has followed that protocols. Not even one. Lakhs of people are following all over South India. No one has any problem. So first you have to stop animal protein because that is the basis of your immune compromisation. Animal protein, the degenerative, degraded molecules can start making carcinogenicity in your body and immune compromisation. That is the first rule of virology. Forget about mRNA, DNA. The animal protein itself can cause this, our DNA structural changes. So as simple as that, but we are not thinking about it. We are not following our great sadhus told, be a vegetarian, be a vegetarian, be a vegetarian. What else they can tell? And who has to publish? Well, those fellows have to publish, then only it becomes science. So this publishing business is something which I am totally against, because I have published more than 40 journals or 40 papers. I know what this publishing business is. It's all bogus, nothing else. So we have published already. Why should I publish again? See, it is the manyata. It is the authentication that our governments and our scientists, our ICMR body is not giving. We are not ready to accept our own science. We don't need to prove to them in their language. बहुत सारा लिख गया है. It is already there. So many people say we have to provide scientific data. Scientific, what science? ये science है? This vaccines, is it science? It's not a science. How can you protect yourself with vaccines one after the other? Is there any logic into it? No, I have seen many doctors, many scientists saying that we have to publish. What publish? It is published already. I have published. Our great grandfathers have published. So our Charaka has published. Everyone has published. Why should I publish again? It becomes basically stealing. I have told whatever I have learned from our ancestors. So why should I publish again in my name? In fact, I have written the PDF by Dr. Khadar. It's nonsense. I should not be writing like that. But then someone has to own it. So it is written like that. So it's their knowledge is there floating all around in India. So who are these people to ask us to publish again? And will they approve? I will publish. Let them approve. See, I have clearly explained.
No, sir, we don't have to seek their approval, but at least so that the knowledge can get disseminated.
Yes, madam, that's what I am doing. I have given all the PDFs accumulated, given a so-called scientific thought process, but I have sent these materials, microbial imbalance, hormone imbalance, glucose imbalance, to many journals, both in India and abroad. No one wants to look at it because I'm saying diabetes is curable. I'm saying BP is curable. I have cured thousands of people, thousands, not 100, 200, 300, thousands. Nowadays, I can say without mincing words, I have cured lakhs of people. Lakhs of diabetic patients have got cured. Of course, there are crores of them. There are crores of them in the world. But we need to get to them. And these guys are not allowing this to happen. So we have published, we have done that, all that can be done. But the manyata, you have to authentication. Our own governments are not willing to accept because they are controlled by these pharmaceutical companies. As simple as that. So I have gone through all that you are talking. I have done all that. I have gone to the doctors. I have gone to the scientists. I have tried to discuss with them. They are least bothered because their funding gets cut. When you say diabetes is curable, funding gets cut because they have to sell insulin. Our own technologies, our own biotechnologies are selling so much of insulin. They are not happy. They're not trying to find solutions. They're trying to find markets. And that is the difference between Ayurveda, our old systems, and the present system. They are tied to business. Our systems are not tied to business. They are tied to human wellness. So this is the difference. Sorry to go offshoot. I have no idea about.
I think different perspectives we should know about them rather than being blind to one thing.
Yes. I have come from the so-called scientific world.
I know, sir.
Yeah.
I read about it.
I have done genetic engineering. I have done all that hangama, and I know all about this. Yeah.
Really, Dr. Khadar, thank you very much. This was a really, really nice session.